Hello YouTube, Alpha White Wolf bring you another If the Emperor Had Text-to-Speech Device reaction. This one is episode 16, The Universal History with Professor Emperor. So, I know it's been a little while, I've been doing a bunch of other stuff. I believe that most people can kind of see that everything is kind of picking back up because COVID-19 is kind of winding down as a problem. So I have a lot less time to do this. I'm also finishing up some college work and dealing with stuff in my personal life. So I'm not quite able to get these kind of things out as frequently as I used to. And after a really hard day, I think you can appreciate that I want to have some me time and actually relax. So with all that said, let's get into some of the disclaimers. Check out the original video. The link's in the description. Bruva Alfabusa is hilarious in this shit. It is awesome. If you like the video, indicate so down below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to suggest future videos to react to, just drop them in the comments below. I actually just mentioned it in a comment just now. I'm going to have to start writing a list of the things that people want me to check out in relation to Warhammer now. But yeah. And finally, I'll have to double check. I didn't get a chance to look before I start opening things up. But I think that Danny Phantom versus the American Dragon is still blocked worldwide. So I'm going to see what I can do to put that video on the Gaming Latorious Twitter page. So yeah. If you want to check out that reaction, head over there. I'll see if I can get it put up. If not, then in the next text-to-speech device reaction, I'll have some other way to get the video out to you guys. But I've rambled on enough. Video is a go. Hold on. Okay. Video is a go in 3, 2, 1, and play. That is still such an epic opening.
Interested?
Not really. I'm just making sure you're not trying to invite your army of demonic tentacle monsters over for a party or something.
I tried to make me go high. Look at me. I'm talking to them. I'll sneak while you read this.
Can we please have a little bit of trust at this point? I mean, of all the places in this expansive galaxy, this isn't the most comfortable location for me.
I don't know what that is.
Besides, I'm not Fulgrim.
So you're telling me that succulent food, a luxurious atmosphere, and an actual bed are less comfortable than the realm that is literally a collective sea ship?
If you had more mental capacity than a box of Grox manure, maybe you too would appreciate its own unique majesty.
This assumes that I'm insane enough to want to. Nevertheless, you just being here is a sign of trust in my lord, is it not?
Perhaps. Crazy. Damns. Why are you still here?
Well, okay, tell me. What are you actually doing? Don't mistake my question for curiosity, I'm mostly just concerned.
Research, observation, experimentation, calming my nerves, listening to the whispers of the warp, passing the time of day, and so on. Albeit it's pretty damn hard to get a good focus in this place, with Father around. Finding any warp traffic to spy on, which isn't tinted gold and full of pent-up frustration, is like trying to remove a demonic incursion from your rectum.
No, I left my heresy detector in my chambers, but I hear it over from here.
Stop that!
So what?
Stop dazzling me with your ignorance! Your shiny, half-baked head is burning through my retina like an acid made of stupid— Ah! Seriously though, have you still not got that this heresy expression you speak of is just your Imperium's excuse to put a giant bolt into the head of anyone who goes against you? The Imperium is like a child in a "my dad is better than your dad" argument that received the right to kill anyone that attempts to argue back, you witless dildoties.
Well, if you didn't make everything so
That is a fair point, though.
diabolical, creepy, and straight up evil, maybe you wouldn't be such easy targets for both propaganda and a bolt shell to the forehead. I mean, you're not doing yourselves any favors by wearing the skin of your enemies, for example.
Necrons.
Information, I have never worn the skin of my enemies. Do I look like a Necron Flayer to you?
To be fair, the Necrons and your Thousand Sons do have pretty similar motives nowadays.
Yes, we've already sent the cease and desist order. They're just being ferocious plasteel dicks about it.
Anyone who's seen one of those YouTube advertisements for the Harley Quinn, this reminds me of the Legion of Doom in that legal battle with the sex shop. Then what are you laughing at?
Regardless, you still look like you woke up on the wrong side of the Eye of Terror.
I do see where you're coming from. All the decapitated heads and giant spikes do make it look like we're compensating for one thing or another. Like I could be some parents. But to be fair, given your Imperium's alarming obsession with skulls, I'd say you have some issues of your own. Nevertheless, did you only come here to watch over my shoulder, or did you have some other reason?
Well, I actually wanted to ask you something.
Well, go ahead. Might break the monotony.
I've been wondering. I've served my Emperor for somewhere around 11,000 years or so. I don't really keep track. And even though he's our father, I don't actually know all that much about him besides what I've seen with my own eyes.
Isn't that enough?
Of course it is. After fighting this side and hearing his dreams for humanity, no sane man could not appreciate his majesty, wisdom, and might.
Indirectly calling me insane.
Truly, he is the one only worthy leader of mankind. But where did he come from? Did he have parents, or did he just, I don't know, crawl out of a gold deposit? Not that's a bad thing, of course. I'm sure it was the most glorious deposit in the world.
Oh, hungering for some crisp, luscious knowledge, are we? Now,
I don't like the way he described
I
that.
thought you companions were especially trained to act as completely uninteresting impersonal automatons.
Well, truth be told, I think as time has gone by, most of us have either gone into the cuckoo's nest or have managed to attain some form of...
I recognize this music in the
The
background.
one exception, everyone has completely lost their mind.
Hey, C'tan, want to go and take a swim in the Promethean pools with us?
No.
Fine, be that way.
As I was saying, I'd still follow the Emperor right into the Eye of Terror. If he
That
wanted.
music is usually at the end of 40k Theory
I follow
videos.
every word and I never defy him. And I would happily give my life for him. But, well, there's the thing. I'd happily give my life for him.
Implying that you can actually be happy. Which also implies the fact that you have thoughts and feelings of your own, which subsequently implies you aren't an incredibly stale person whose personal interest can be summed in the words, standing around.
I guess that's part of the reason why I was elected to the position of Captain General. After millennia of isolation and your occasional murdering of demons trying to creep in, I'm the one and only companion who's not batshit insane.
And I suppose that's also part of the reason why you're still wearing your armor after all this time.
Yeah! Or, well, not all this time.
Oh?
I went through a phase. I can't say I'm particularly proud of it. Those loincloths really don't need much of the imagination, you know. What do you think? I swear it takes the force.
Anyway, as you were asking...
Yes, the subject. Okay, I know he's been around pretty much as long as humanity has, and that he's gracefully guided us through all of that, but did he make humanity in his image, or is he simply the guardian of our species? And if he made us, what made him? And if he didn't make us, what made us?
Ah, the oldest question in human history. What are our origins? Sadly, I'm of little help to you in that field. Been too busy comprehending the Materium and superhero comics.
Really? Didn't the Emperor tell you himself? And if he
A very important pursuit.
or something?
Actually, he never told me much about his own past or humanity's origins. Perhaps he didn't want us to know, since he's always been so exasperatingly introvert about things like teaching. That, or it's because I never really asked. May have been the latter, all things considered. And no, I don't
Probably.
have an old book lying about that specifically tells us where we all came from. Only my neurotic brother Lorgar would have the talent to write a fictive suicide of that caliber. Besides, even if I had a book like that, all the exciting demon tomes with screaming faces and beware signs lying about would probably just make it look severely unappealing in comparison.
Gah, I suspected as much. And I've looked through all the tomes and slates in the palace's libraries, all the data stored in archives of ancient texts and journals. I've even looked through albums of travel photos of Terra's sake, but I couldn't find anything about the time before the Emperor conquered Terra during the Age of Strife.
If you are that curious, why not just ask Father himself?
Yeah, I don't know. Multiple reasons. His mind is so splintered that remembering such ancient knowledge might make him fling his skull across the room like a bowling ball. That and I'm much unsure.
Hello,
if he actually
Centurion.
wanted to tell me. I mean, if he never told you, why would he tell me?
Well, he does seem to like you, despite him being grumpiness incarnate. He relies on you to listen to his boundless complaints and to inform him about, to quote, stupid shit. I'd even say he trusts you. He certainly trusts you more than he trusts me or any of his other sons for that matter. Actually, are you sure you're not his wife or something?
No, of course not, but... Wait. Really? You think so?
Indeed, stepmother.
First of all, quiet you. Second of all, I think you might be right.
I'm really wrong.
So I might just go and ask him then.
You do that.
Actually, don't you want to come too?
Nah, I'm gonna practice for that talent show that I heard is coming up next Thursday. You say they're batshit insane, but your fellow companions do seem to know how to have a good time.
I'm concerned.
Unless you want soggy hair and stay down for a week.
And that's why.
I recommend you drop that.
Why should I... Oh.
Ellipsis. So let me get this straight. You mean to say that you really have no records of human history before the Age of Strife accessible within the Imperial Palace?
No, not really. Most of it is so heavily censored by the Ecclesiarchy and the Inquisition that more closely resembles a barcode than it does anything else.
So you have no recollection of the tales of the old ones, my own conception, the rebellion of the Men of Iron, or any other tidbits of humanity actually kicking ass?
Perfect timing there, Servo Skull.
I honestly thought I'd hit the greasy fucking bottom of this shithole when you told me of the Inquisition's activities, but I'm just now realizing that I'm only scratching the surface of this frozen ocean of ineptitude. It's almost as if nobody wants to hear about how our people weren't the be-all and all of civilization in this cesspit of a galaxy.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
Right. This is something that I shall now unfuck post-haste. Magnus, fetch some parchment and do what you do best. Take notes.
Do not worry, I always have paper with me.
What a fucking nerd you are. Anyway, I want
I like
you
it,
to
though.
write down everything I am about to tell you, and when I'm done, rewrite the whole damn thing as a grand historical document. Then I want you to start covering it in holy seals and shit, and then throw it into a pile of dirt for a while, so it gets that shitty old paper look. That'll make stupid people think it's inherently trustworthy. Oh, and shiny britches?
Yes, my lord?
When Magnus finishes his chicken scratchings, I then want you to take this document to the scribes, have it proofed to make sure he doesn't sneak in any mimetic chaos bullshit, then have it mass-produced and distributed all across the galaxy to all people of authority. I don't care if you literally need to ram it down their fucking throats, just make sure they read that shit and understand it. No spam box filter shall stop my glorious wisdom this time.
Yes, my lord.
Now, gather around, children, for it is grand story time. Cue visuals. In the beginning, there was nothing. The nothingest nothing that has ever not existed. The nothing just kinda sat about and unexisted, not bothered by any such thing as existence or reality. There may have been some bits of heat energy floating about, but that shit doesn't count. Eventually, however, this frigid, lonely expanse of plot hole level nothing got sick of being nothing and decided to get a job. So all the energy bits sucked themselves into a ball smaller than the level of progress made since I was put on this over-glorified Porto Potty lighthouse. Then, the energy exploded with the force of something that you'd compare giant fucking explosions to. There has never been, and never will be, an explosion as big as this one. It was so big that it's literally still happening right now.
The Big
What
Bang.
caused the heat to compress and explode like that?
I don't fucking know. Dark matter, plane walkers, precursors, a bunch of geeks with nothing better to do making a badass fictional universe for the purpose of inevitably selling inordinately expensive plastic miniatures? It
Fourth
could have
degree
been
warp
anything.
realm fuckery.
So after the mega-explosion, atoms started to take form from the massive amounts of energy that floated around, and these atoms started recombining, collapsing, and forming themselves into elements, molecules and compounds. These substances, unlike energy, had mass and decided to get closer to each other because now this new thing called gravity applied to them because that's just what fucking happened. Fuck this boring comic shit, let's get to the good stuff. As matter formed into big lumps, these lumps became celestial formations. Stars, planets, nebulas, asteroids, comets. Eventually, due to conservation of energy and some weird chemical reactions, life eventually formed on these lumps of space scrap. Supposedly, the first life that came about was a race of beings that became known as the Old Ones. The reason for this nickname is that they were the ultimate rulers of reality and evolution, and they were really fucking old, go figure. These beings are the shitty, neglectful grandparents of all that is life. They evolved so damn hard that they eventually became spiritual entities, discovering the so-called realm of souls. As a side note, as you can see, they looked something like big, fat amphibians before they evolved into beings of pure power. So that's a lot of progress for a bunch of giant hyper-intelligent toadmen. Come to think of it, that sounds a lot like the administratum.
Incomprehensibly powerful for almost no reason.
Toadman, you rose in a typewriter with a fucking mouth. Anyway, they then decided to create other species for shits and giggles. Some said that they created all life after themselves, but I'm not so sure on that one. Perhaps they helped push the boat out, but they certainly didn't fucking build it.
So these Old Ones didn't create humanity?
That's what I just said, you hollow-headed ninny. Most life evolved in one way or another, and anyone who doesn't accept that is probably really drunk.
Lorgar's going to have fun with this.
Continuing on. Next to arrive were a bunch of floozy fucking milksops that you would recognize as the Eldar. Due to the fact that, early in their evolution, they reproduced like space rabbits, they actually ended up becoming the dominant race in the galaxy. The Old Ones were more like spread out singularities of imbalanced min-max hanging around here and there. But neither race really cared for each other, so they coexisted peacefully, one spreading like a pointy-eared plague, while the other pooped out orangutans, more frogmen, and races with unpronounceable names. But then came the Necron.
Wait. That sounds familiar.
Strap
It
yourselves to something, because here comes the most obvious plot twist of the fucking century. The Necron were salty assholes because they had evolved on a shitty, radiation-blasted planet. They built underground cities that seriously looked like depressing tombs because their life sucked so much that they would rather wait out their own death than do much else. After years of being subservient to their animosity, like an entire race of entitled middle-aged people, they became envious of both the Old Ones' incredible powers and the Eldar's massive galaxy-spanning girth. Of course, they were little more than an irritating bunch of self-pitying tearjerkers to such powerful races. Eventually, however, the spite of the Necron became so mighty that they started hating all life in the galaxy, even themselves, and decided to start murdering literally everything. However, they soon realized that manually making sure every single grass straw on a planet was dead was really fucking tedious, so they started snooping around for something to make into a super weapon. That led to them finding a weird bunch of gas orbiting the super radioactive star that had turned their planet into the empire of atomic bombia. They suddenly noticed that the gas was feeding on the very energy of the star. It turned out that the gas was alive, but not in the same sense as other life forms. It had evolved in a whole different way, and was technically even older than the Old Ones. Of course, all it actually did was eat radiation and, be what is basically celestial fart gas. But of course, these assy Necrondards just had to fuck with this peaceful, sun-eating anomaly. They proceeded to collect as many of these weird sentient gas clouds as they could find and forged bodies of living metal for them, because what isn't that the first idea that comes to your mind as well? They used the gas's own radiation-eating abilities to lure the dormant consciousnesses of them into the bodies they had made via the use of a bridge of starlight, or some pretentious shit like that. So after eons of peacefully orbiting stars and eating radiation, these beings which knew no other need than to drift around and consume were suddenly given incredibly powerful physical forms and hypercomputerized synthetic brains to give them all the knowledge the Necron hearts had collectively acquired. As you can guess, this went swimmingly for everyone involved.
Wait.
This sounds like some Skynet shit.
Congratulations.
These gas entities, they became the C'tan,
Mm-hmm.
and the Necrons here became the Necrons?
Give this man a PhD because that's some serious brain power for a giant armored potato chip. But yes, these beings, in their fancy new bodies, with their big new brains, were named the C'tan by the Necron and were worshipped as gods. The C'tan weren't nice though. They absorbed all the living metal the Necrontyr had amassed, and used it to transform this massive species of psychopaths into a race of living, murderous machines who mindlessly served them. They also ate most of the Necrontyr's souls while they were at it, because they were ungrateful assholes like that. That's also when these mounds of fluid dickery discovered that souls were far more appealing than space radiation. I guess souls have more nutrition or something. So the C'tan started looking back through the extensive memories of the Necrontyr, now renamed Necrons for some reason, and saw that the old ones had the biggest, tastiest souls of them all, and decided that it would be a good idea to eat them. When the C'tan came gnawing at the old one's front door, the old ones of course decided to punch the shit out of them with their minds, like all grandparents do. But that's when they noticed that their psychic powers were useless against both them and the Necrons, because they had no souls of their own. This started a massive galaxy-wide massacre of the old ones that went so far that they nearly became extinct. I guess you could say that the old ones got their life towed away from them.
Seriously though, that's awful.
Well, I guess the Necron got what they wanted in the end.
Not quite. See, some of the old ones survived, and they decided that the only way to stop this imminent galactic doom is to fuck up in an equally as awful manner as the Necrontyr. Thus, they created a new race, one which could fight the soulless Necrons for them. A race with strange reality-bending powers fueled by crowd mentality instead of souls. A race that knew and desired only war and destruction. A race that could weaponize anything and was almost impossible to kill. A race that became known then as the Orks, or, as we know them today, the Orks, because shortening names is a thing.
What?
Greenskins?
There's a plot twist you didn't see coming. The Orks were actually important all along. So while the Orks were fighting the Necrons, the Eldar were shitting their collective frilly panties because they knew that they were next on the menu. So they decided to salvage as much of the old one's tech as they could and fuse it with their own. Believe it or not, the Webway was actually a creation of the old ones, but the Eldar nicked off with the designs, like the thieving bastards they are. That said, by combining Webway technology and the power of the Realm of Souls, they created a new type of material to combat the living metal of the Necrons called Wraithbone. The Wraith constructs were sent into battle alongside the Orks to fight back the Necrons. Turns out that while the C'tan were immune to psychic powers, it seemed as they couldn't handle being Wraithboned.
From the moment I heard the name come up, I knew you'd say that.
Why aren't you the smartest kid on the fucking block?
Of course I am.
No wonder you were bullied by your brothers.
Dick.
No, that's just uncalled for.
Anyway, just when things started to go down the drain for the C'tan, things got even worse for them, as one particular asshole among them known as the Deceiver, good friends with the Eldar Laughing God, brought together the most edgy C'tan he could possibly find, creatures with names that only the most lonely of people could come up with, such as the Nightbringer, the Void Dragon, and the Outsider. The Decever then said to his fellow celestial gas canisters,
All the other C'tan are weak and being killed off. We should eat them before they die so their powers won't be wasted.
Thus, the C'tan started infighting, and began to eat each other, while also being destroyed by the Orks and the Eldar, because that is clearly what an intelligent life form would do. So much destruction was caused in this, the First Great War, that the C'tan suddenly realized they were expending more energy than they were absorbing, and would run out of power if they kept this up. All according to plan, Shagorath said as he laughed away the night with the Decever.
Killing all of your allies in the middle of a giant war was apparently a bad idea. Who would have fucking thought?
Thus, they simply decided to retreat back to the Tomb Worlds with their Necron armies to wait for the universe to become plump, juicy, and unprepared again.
It would seem that at some point during that time, the Necrons must have regained some consciousness and taken revenge on the C'tan for screwing them over.
So I have been led to believe.
Although to be honest, it kind of sounds like they deserved what happened to them. That's what you get for being a filthy Xeno after all.
So with that giant clusterfuck out of the way, you'd think things would get better. But nope. This giant war had left the universe a complete fucking mess. The old ones were near extinct. The Eldar were still scared shitless, and worst of all, the Orks, with no Necrons left to fight, turned on their creators since the old ones had forgotten to install a fucking off switch. Fortunately, they could be held at bay due to having no technology of their own. That said, something worse than Necrons was on the horizon. You see, all the souls who were eaten, and all those who died in the battles created a major imbalance in the realm of souls. This imbalance within the outer realm corrupted and twisted it with all the ill will, fears, and general lack of common fucking decency that life now collectively experienced. Nightmarish spiritual entities started to emerge from the darkness of the realm, like a giant galactic panic attack. It was at this point that the first demons emerged, and the realm of souls was given a new name.
The warp! That all makes sense.
Yup. Not only did that war fuck up the universe, but it fucked up the outer realms of the universe too. Compared to that war, this 10,000-year-old conflict that started when fucking Horus decided to be a bad boy is barely a blip on the radar. Puts things into context, doesn't it?
I suddenly feel small, and I don't know how to feel about that.
You'll get used to it. Besides, you're shorter than most of your brothers anyhow.
That's entirely my choice, and you know it.
But where were we, humanity, during all this?
We were all busy evolving from primates into tribal cavemen, picking our noses, and fornicating in the ways that primitive beings do. But not for long. You see, warp storms caused by this huge war fucked the galaxy over, and additionally, demonic predators of the warp finished off most, if not all, of the remaining old ones. It's like some complete-ass wipe suddenly invaded an old folks' home, demolished all their belongings, and subjected all old people to summary executions. And then another completely unrelated group came along and did the exact same thing all over again. The Eldar, realizing their own incredible fragility, decided fuck it. Literally. And so they did. Constantly. So much so that they repopulated the galaxy again, became the dominant species once more, and ruined their own reproductive cycle to the point of near non-functionality. I mean, I know you'll lose it if you don't use it, but if you use it fucking constantly, it's gonna get worn out and shrivel up. It's at this point that the idiots say what species emerged.
The what?
I am absolutely hilarious, even after all these millennia.
Oh,
I still don't get it.
So, actual humans finally started coming forth out of the evolutionary fuckfest at this point, and a handful of them gained psychic powers similar to that of other species carrying souls around. These early day psychers called themselves shamans, and they were totally super badass, guiding humanity by learning about the ways of nature and the universe's history, through the power of the realm of souls and probably some shrooms. However, when the doddering demon douches accompanied with an entire gang of horribly unnecessary creatures like enslavers and psychnoia started to show up, the shamans started to be horribly
That last one was a Mothra sound.
manners. So of course, the shamans decided they needed to put their heads together to solve the problem. So they did. Again, literally. By combining their very souls, psychic powers, knowledge, and strength, through ritualistic mastery aside. They achieved in the blink of an eye something that had taken the old ones an entire species worth of evolution to do. They all became a single living being of spiritual energy and power. In short, they created me.
On this day, we shall know our enemy by the name that I shall give them. We shall know them as the Space Hags of Death!
Look out, my marble palace, before you make anything dirty! Oh, thanks for the warning.
Outrageous!
Okay. So, the ending there where they're doing that head bopping emperor, I'm not gonna skip past that because that is still just such an epic song. You gotta appreciate it. You gotta give it some respect. But throughout this two things really stood out to me. And it doesn't actually have to do with the content, oddly enough. So, first off, I was often able to figure out what they were saying before they actually said it because of the subtitles. And it reminded me of the numerous times when I would put the subtitles on Netflix, and then other people who'd be checking out what I'm watching, like, how can you read? Why would the subtitles be on? You won't be able to see what's going on in the moment. Anyone who can't read the subtitles and then look and still catch what's going on, those are what we call slow readers. And second, I know that there might be some people who don't like the fact that I don't spaz out and make loud, obnoxious noises every few seconds, but frankly, that's a shitty reaction to do. It feels so fake. If you're spazzing out, if you're rambling throughout the entire reaction video, that's not a reaction, that's just you sitting there babbling. But that's enough on my part. Those are just some thoughts that kind of stuck with me throughout the episode. So, once again, this has been a This has been a reaction to If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device by Bruva Alfabusa. The original video is in the original link to the video is in the description. If you like this video, indicate so down below. If you have suggestions for future videos, drop them in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll have to double check, but I think we're definitely closing in on 400 subscribers, which is awesome. If we manage to hit 400 subscribers before the end of next month, it's going to be so funny. Because I'll be kind of pissed at the fact that if I had known how popular this was, I would have gotten into it a little earlier. If I had known how good it was and how many subscribers it was going to bring in, I would have jumped into it very quickly. And the fact that I'm kind of a Warhammer fan now. I'm still working on painting my little army. Getting the boys all dressed up and ready to fight. But yeah. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and hop off and start editing this footage, get it ready to upload, and I'll start seeing whether or not I can get the American Dragon the Jake Long versus Danny Phantom reaction on Facebook and on Twitter. So, with all that said, this has been Alpha White Wolf. I'm signing off. You keep howling, Wolfpack.